Welcome back, episode 19 of Revisited, and it's been a while since we did some Dragon Ball. We were trying to go through. The hardest part of Revisited is just picking the thing we want to do, because once we actually start, like that's what we're doing, it's so easy. But the time before then, we'll spend like 4 hours just going. Hey, do you got an idea of what you want to do?
It's a huge list, 2 separate big lists, but it's just like there's too much.
And then what's sad is we'll have the big list, and then we'll see something new and just go, "Oh, screw the big list, let's do this." I think this one was part of your big list, though.
Yes.
So today we're talking about Dragon Ball and narrative, why power level debates are dumb or stupid. I can't remember exactly. Can't even remember who made it.
This probably would have been good information. It's stupid. It's right. It says it right there.
Yeah, but are stupid. I just don't know who made it. Maybe I'll cut in the name of the person after the fact.
No,
you know what? No.
No, you won't.
No. Let's look it up. Let's look it up now, because I would very much like to say their name while we're doing it, because I don't want to just be like, person, sir. I was also looking at, there was a anime fan, a woman anime fan that I was looking at, but she hasn't made a video in over like a year, and I was like, But it looks...
Is that like Miss DBZ something?
It might have been that. Yeah, it looked interesting, but just like also not very interesting.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the time where we get a video like, oh, this isn't interesting at all, and we have to go and get.
Bruh, that would be so amazing. I would even put it up. Like
absolutely. Like we ain't
failed Revisited. The person's name is the Pinwheel. Okay.
A long way to go for that, for sure.
Hi, you might remember me from my last video where I discussed the Dragon Ball YouTube community. I had a section in that video where I discussed power level.
Okay. I'm gonna go back a little bit on what he just showed. We have talked about the text in the videos for a long time, and why are you doing it? Now, I don't mind you doing text if it's to add more information, or basically add more information to a scene, or if you mess something up and you don't want to retake the whole thing, it's just like, here's some text, whatever. I don't mind that. I don't mind even if it's used sparingly, like that freaking Why I Love Zack Snyder, where it's just constantly being used. Or Oceanus, where it's just like in the background, Giorno Giovanna from the first visit, and it's just on the screen for like 40 seconds.
We know who this is.
They're so unnecessary. This right here is also unnecessary. He's making you pause the video to read information, so the video itself isn't longer. Condense what you want to say more, instead of forcing people to pause your video to read more information.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that he would do that.
A video where I discussed power levels, and I made
choice of music,
a little funny sketch in it. And I also cut that sketch out and put it on a side channel, and that got a lot of views. And this video, for some reason, recently has been getting a good amount of views and comments.
Hey, my videos have been getting a lot of views for doing this, so I'm gonna do this again.
Yeah, I don't see because that was kind of with Play. He was just like, I got a lot of views for this, but I don't want to do this. And he just sort of drug his feet like, whatever, Dragon Ball. But I can see people just going, hey, I got a lot of views, and they're trying to build the momentum of their channel, and they go back to it. I can see that.
Oh yeah, I absolutely can see it. I just don't agree with it in that, oh, this is something that was stupid popular that I did, so let me do more of it just to gain more popularity. If that's the type of content you want to do,
yeah,
no problem.
It's like if our ocean thing blew up, I wouldn't immediately go, episode 2, another ocean. I'd be like, we're gonna get back to him eventually, but
yeah, it's just like when we were AMV editing. You had very archetyped editors where it was just like, I am the One Piece editor, and if you want a One Piece AMV, you come to me. Whereas we were just like really weird, doing Invader Zim and Recess and all this other stuff, and people are like, what are these guys doing? And we wouldn't even put what we were doing in the title. We were just whatever. So,
well, we were not interested in getting views or
dude, that's where I'm at. We were not interested in the slightest in getting views or subscribers. We would just put weird titles like, "You're only smoking juice." Like, that's an inside joke only we get, and it was an Avatar AMV. We didn't care.
A lot of them regarding what I said about power scaling. A lot of them have really annoyed me because I think a lot of people don't understand what power scaling is, and they have this very ludicrous misconception about it.
I feel like, Oceanus called people out on this, but he's part of the problem. He was on Twitter, and somebody had said something about My Hero being deconstructionist. Yeah. And he was like, another one in the lexicon of analysts, YouTubers that don't understand things. He said something like themes, deconstruction, and it was one more. World building. And it's just like they don't understand what these mean. And I feel like it's very much that people, because they can't analyze things themselves. They want their YouTuber to tell them how to feel or how to analyze, how that thing should be analyzed. That's why you get so many regurgitated things like when people talk about Hunter x Hunter or Part 5. That's an even better one. People talk about Part 5 and how Giorno and the group did not take shortcuts, whereas Diavolo did, and it's just like that makes no sense, but it's regurgitated so much because a bunch of YouTubers,
nobody questions it.
Yes,
so everybody's saying it. So why there's nobody questioning it? Nobody exploring how and why. So we just say it, and then it's just true, and we move on.
And I think power scaling is another one of those things. People don't understand the things they're saying, but they speak with such authority, like they know what they're saying, that people believe them or agree with them. Like, I don't understand it.
So I'm going to be talking about that. What I think people miss about power scaling and why a lot of Dragon Ball fans seem very misinformed about the series as a whole and why it works. So, what is power scaling? I'll give two definitions to it. Power scaling generally refers to a way to deduce a character's strength. This is the most common explanation.
Go back. We gotta.
Oh yeah, because he didn't read it. Okay, everybody contributes in the fight. No, that's not
absolutely not.
No. Oh, maybe he means everybody that has contributed in a fight is where you can see the power scaling. So you have the Krillin level, and then you have a Frieza level because Krillin and Frieza. I'm just trying to.
He added this as to supplement what he's saying, but then it's even more confusing.
Yeah, I really don't understand that.
Everybody, power scaling is this. Everybody contributes in the fight. What?
Each attack is progressively more powerful. The strength of each character very apparently speaks for itself. Huh? I really need this explained.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, you shouldn't have went about it this way. I really wish you would have explained these 2 points. I'm already confused. We're not even a minute into your video, and I'm already confused what you mean by these 2 points.
And each attack isn't progressively more powerful. Take a look at something like I can finally start talking about Flame of Rekka. The end of the tournament, where it's just Kurei and Rekka, and they're just completely wiped out, and they're just punching each other.
Yeah.
And then they start using fire, but it's basically just like weak. This is all I got type of fire. Not each attack progressively getting more powerful.
Yeah, I don't think the Jet Gatling that took out Rob Lucci was the most powerful Jet Gatling that Luffy had done up until that point. A lot of
punches that took him off guard.
Yeah, like I don't get it.
This is the most common explanation of power scaling I see, but I think it leaves out a gigantic piece of context that is vital to understand its purpose. Thus, the second definition, and the one I think many people leave out when discussing Dragon Ball. This is my own personal one.
Pause. How can people be leaving out this second definition if it's your own one? You've made this definition and you're going, people aren't using it. Well, of course not!
Dragon Ball. This is my own personal one. Power scaling is a rough estimate on how powerful a character can be written while still being beholden to the writing structure in a satisfying way. A character is only as...
Did you understand that sentence?
Still being... Yeah, I did, but...
Maybe I need to hear it again.
Power scaling is a rough estimate on how powerful a character can be written while still being beholden to the writing structure in a satisfying way.
Okay, I think I understand what
Yeah,
you mean.
it's understandable, but
No,
it's just like what kind of definition is that?
no, because I feel like written in a satisfying way, that would mean that if it's not written in a satisfying way, it is not power scaling. But that's not what it is, because there's good power scaling and there's bad power scaling. All of Dragon Ball's power scaling, for the most part, makes sense in the narrative. Like, why Saiyans are so powerful, blah, 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 blah. It makes sense in the narrative. But it's bad because you go from the Saiyan arc, where we're dealing with 30,000, and then the next strongest villain is in the millions.
And if you look at something like Zenkai Boots, Goku gets beaten up within an inch of his life, goes into the pod, gets up to 3 million. Vegeta gets hole blown in his chest, doesn't go up that high. Why not? What was the difference there? We don't know. So that's not narratively satisfying, as he says.
Yeah, I really don't understand this.
A character is only as powerful as the story allows them to be. Why do I use this definition? Because it's something I see people completely ignore when they talk about the series as a whole, especially in regards to Super. If there's one thing I'm certain of more than anything about a majority of Dragon Ball fans, it's that they don't know what the fuck narrative flow is. While Dragon Ball has justifications in the story for how powerful each of the characters in it are, those justifications exist solely so that the story pans out in a very specific, satisfying way.
Then isn't that power scaling?
Yes.
If it's satisfying? And what's wrong with pointing things out in this, towards a specific goal of the author? What's the issue there?
And we're not saying that they're trying to get to a point in the story that it makes sense. It's just like, is it satisfying that this happens? It's not. Does it make sense for the story for this to happen? Does it make sense for the beam struggle between Goku and Krillin in Super? Yeah, Goku was holding him back, but why turn blue if you're gonna use 0.0000001% of your power?
That's the type of stuff that doesn't make sense. But the beam struggle of Goku and Vegeta makes a lot of sense.
While Z and Super handle this in different, albeit interesting ways, I've grown really tired of people seemingly missing the point over and over and over about how the story justifies itself sometimes. So I'd just like to make this video and hopefully make a case for why people should put narrative into consideration when talking about the series. So I'll start with some examples. So let's go all the way back to the
narrative into consideration when talking about the series. Goku needed to be stronger than Frieza, and then he was.
Dragon Ball is very simplistic.
It's super.
I need to be stronger than this person, and then I become. It's really simple.
Yes.
It's not
Super
like
Saiyan was brought up in the Namek arc, and then it was paid off in that same arc.
it's not like something like Bleach where you have a rescue arc and rescue arc after rescue arc. There's no rescue arcs in Dragon Ball. It's really just villain at the end. I must be stronger than villain. Like Whole Cake Island, the point of going there was not to defeat Big Mom. It was to get Sanji back. They got Sanji back. They had to fight the second strongest person on the island, but they got Sanji back and they dipped. That was the point of the story. And a poneglyph, yeah. Like,
but here it's just there's a strong guy on the top of the mountain. Get up to that mountain, push the strong guy off.
oh, there's a bigger mountain and a stronger guy.
Okay, well, keep going, keep doing it.
Saiyan Saga, where I feel like Toriyama made one of his biggest mistakes that he took far too long to correct. Raditz shows up at the beginning of Z. He is wearing a scouter, which he uses to determine various characters' power levels. This also introduces the concept of power levels, which assigns a specific number to how strong a character can be. I know that power levels will raise, like, they introduced that whole thing with, like, oh yeah, humans can raise their power level just by, you know, charging up and all that shit. The reason I still feel like it's a giant mistake is it puts such a specific number on how strong a character is that it kind of...
There's no problem. Nope. I disagree. I feel like you could do this, but it could be done so much better if you didn't jump from 30,000 to millions in the next arc, so that by the time we get to Cell, it's like, what's the point of even having power levels? Because they have to be in like the 16 millions at this point.
It's too big of a jump.
It's too big of a jump. If it went from the 30,000 that Goku and Vegeta were, and then Frieza is like the strongest in a quadrant, not the universe, but in a quadrant.
He limited himself so much by just saying the strongest in the universe.
And Frieza is like 300,000. It's like, okay, Frieza is 10 times stronger than those people. I can understand that.
That's reachable.
That's reachable. Not 100 times stronger, and then even more.
That just starts getting ridiculous.
Because you see Goku training in 10 times gravity, and then 50 times gravity, and 100 times gravity. It's like, okay, he's training up to such a degree because by the time Goku gets to Namek, his power level is 180k. That 300k would have been reachable. But that's not what they did.
But then they just had to get him in that chamber, and then all of a sudden he's in the mills.
So I don't agree that putting a hard number to things was the wrong thing to do. He just did it poorly because he never thought about the power scaling.
He never thought about the future either.
Absolutely not.
He was just thinking about right here and now. It's like 300,000, 30,000, that's a big number, but 1,000,000 is a whole lot bigger. And you go, oh, 1,000,000, how are they going to do that? And it's just the mystery of how they're going to do that. And then they just do it.
They just
get stronger.
They just get stronger.
and that's not good.
It puts such a specific number on how strong a character is that it kind of...
I'm going to pause again. You look at something like One Piece where it has the bounties. Now, that's a rough estimate of how strong somebody is because somebody's bounty can go up and down based on anything. Usopp is the weakest Straw Hat, but he has like the 4th or 5th highest bounty because of his influence and stuff. But you can look at a bounty and go, wow, their bounty is 1 billion. So you know they're really, really strong people. That's a roughly specific number. But the thing is, that number means nothing because those strong people can be beat by way weaker people. Perona would have wiped out every Straw Hat. Except the weakest.
And it's also not even a gauge of just strength. It's a gauge of how much of a threat they are to the government.
Yeah.
So Nico Robin, as a child, is like 60. And it's like, well, she's a child and she's not super strong, but you know that she can do something that is a threat.
If the other problem with Dragon Ball is, in the beginning, you could use your smarts and techniques to defeat your opponents. Where it's just a big smelly dude being smelly, and that's the way he beat people. Or Goku using his Kamehameha to bounce off the ground and headbutt somebody. It was a lot of techniques. Even if your opponent was technically stronger, you had a lot of techniques and strategies to potentially beat that person. Dragon Ball Z scaled that back so much where it just becomes, my number is bigger, so me better, so me stronger,
win.
so win.
So win.
Now, if we were dealing with Goku at 250k versus Frieza at 320k, and Goku's like, I have to use strategy to beat this guy, that would have been way different. Because then, even though their power levels, the numbers are different, and Frieza's is higher, Goku can still win. Because it's still a close enough number to defeat, but it's not so out there that by the time you get to Boo, you probably in the 50, 60 millions, and we just not thinking about it anymore.
It's just like, whatever, they're just super strong, and you have Krillin just going, oh, they're super strong, and you just go, okay, they're super strong.
This is why after the Frieza arc, nobody or barely anybody mentions power levels. Goku did once when Vegeta came out the hyperbolic time chamber. When he came out of there the second time, I think it was, or maybe it was the first time, I can't remember. And he went, what's Vegeta's power level? And they brushed it off like, hey, Goku, we need new Dragon Balls. Because they probably would have went. It's in like his power level's 47 million right now.
And also get to the point where you go to Resurrection F, where Frieza says, "If I train, I can get up to like 3 million." You go, "Wait, what? That's not a big number at all."
Is that it kind of removes the importance of technique, but that's just my
Absolutely.
personal opinion. Anyways,
But again, if One Piece has hard numbers or soft numbers, but their techniques can defeat the stronger people. If you still had Dragon Ball having people with techniques beating stronger people, it would still be a good story.
Absolutely.
It would still be good fights. But Toriyama just went larger number win.
Yep.
That was the problem there. He took away techniques for larger number, and
He also took away like weird win conditions, like Jackie Chan versus Goku. Jackie Chan only won because his leg was longer, and he kicked him in the face. And you go, okay, that makes a lot of sense. They're either equal or roughly equal. Jackie's a little stronger, Goku's a little stronger. Doesn't matter. But he won because of this, as opposed to bigger number, bigger blast defeats.
everybody sees just how powerful Raditz is. He's so far above and beyond that Goku and Piccolo have to work together, and everybody has to go off and train to try and get ready for these Saiyans that are going to come up soon. You know, this is going to be the next arc, is the Saiyan.
But then in, what was it, a year, 6 months?
2 years, I think.
I don't think it was 2 years.
No, no, it was the androids that were 3 years. So, I think it was a year. It might have been 6 months. No, it took Goku 6 months to get the Snake Way. So, it's probably a year.
Okay, so in a year, all of a sudden, with training, Krillin's just stronger than Raditz. Why? Why couldn't he reach that status before?
And that's the power scaling right there.
And we shouldn't even talk about this because power level debates are stupid.
Yeah, that's the power scaling right there. Krillin, no matter how much Krillin was training beforehand, in this 1 year he finally obtained past Raditz level. Based on what? For what reason? All that time before it didn't matter. So when Goku and Krillin were training under Roshi, their power level is increasing by the dozens, the hundreds, maybe.
And
then 1 year later, they're increased in the thousands, and then the tens of thousands, and then the hundreds of thousands, and then the millions, and it just keeps going like that. It keeps escalating because he did not think about the power scaling.
But these debates are stupid, and we should not be having them.
Fans are going to show up. They're even more powerful than Raditz, so everybody has to go and they have to train. Is the training important to the story? No.
Yes!
No, they just got stronger. That's all. They went up there and they shadow boxed with each other, and then all of a sudden they're stronger than Raditz.
But it's important right here because you don't... Why would Piccolo protect Gohan? So yes, it was very important to the story for Piccolo's character arc. Because when he teamed up with Goku, it was still like, I don't give a shit about you, Goku. I still want to kill you, but we gotta beat this dude first. And then it's like, oh, these strongest people.
I'm going to kill you,
yes,
and not him.
So this was the completion of Piccolo's face turn. So yes, this was important.
I mean, you can make the case that Gohan's character development is, but the actual training itself, no, it's not at all important. It's just there to justify a power boost for the next arc, and its sole purpose is to make sure everybody enters the fight at a level where you know they're at.
Is that good? Kuma sent everybody to an island where they could grow. Only them could grow in that island.
Yeah, only Chopper is over there with all
if
those
Nami
weird
got sent
plants
to Doctor Island, he'd be like, "What the f is this?" But they all grew on a specific point. They have their path and they went on it. We see Yamcha, Yajirobe, Krillin just punching each other in Kami's Lookout. That's all. That's not good. We're just being told they are training. I've always said that. What the f is Vegeta doing in the freaking hyperbolic time chamber by himself in Super? Is he just doing push-ups? What is he doing to get stronger? Whatever, he's training, and that's all that needs to be said.
Yeah, and it's not like where it's in Dragon Ball where I'm doing this to increase your stamina, I'm doing this to increase your muscle, I'm doing this to increase your speed. It's just like we're punching and kicking and sparring a lot, and so 10,000 power level.
Least as strong as Raditz, given the next villains are going to be much stronger than him. I'm not criticizing the fact that there is training and that it doesn't serve as much purpose as, or that it doesn't serve a purpose, I suppose. But I'm just saying that it's not as entertaining in the series to see a fight below a level than the previous one you just saw, which is the reason.
Pause. Nope, can't say that because I will always see this. Everybody up, if you take Enderdu and you put him on the ground and you put him up against everybody outside of Akainu, he stomps everybody till Kizaru. Done deal. There's an argument to be made about Crocodile stomping everybody up until Kizaru.
Moria was not stronger than Rob Lucci.
Absolutely
don't care what
not.
anybody says. Not stronger than Rob Lucci.
He had a hack.
Still a really good fight. Still an entertaining arc.
I'm not saying that Buggy is weaker than Kuro, who's weaker than Don Krieg, who's weaker than... No. I've said this before. Put them all in a battle royale, and there's an argument to be made about most of them.
Wapple and... Yeah.
Yeah. Just going weaker person... No. Look at Ippo. There's not a hard progression of this person is stronger and would definitely beat this person. Wally, I'm like, could Wally beat like Mashima? Probably not.
But he could have probably beat Ippo.
Yeah. So
there's a hierarchy there where it's just like the styles matter, so you know you might just get an opponent that's weaker than you, but it's so against what your style is that it's just like I can't really do much here.
But I think he's talking about like the beginning of the Android arc where Frieza comes down. Mm-hmm. If it was just Frieza versus Goku, it wouldn't be interesting because Goku's number is bigger and he's fighting a weaker opponent. I think that's what he's talking about.
I can't say that because that's the end of the Namek arc anyway. Goku's number is bigger. So I really can't say that.
Yeah, so what's he talking about?
Like Gohan and Cell, people love that fight.
Yeah.
And Gohan's just so much stronger than Cell. What I think what he's talking about is you can't have the Saiyan arc where it's just like Raditz is strong, and then the next arc, the next two Saiyans come, and they're not as strong as Raditz. So you need to keep having the stronger final boss for it to be interesting. But you don't.
But you don't. Well, you do in Dragon Ball.
You do in Dragon Ball, and that's part of the problem because never thought about the power scaling.
Frieza's not stronger than Beerus.
Absolutely not.
It's broken already.
That's Super. And he said that he's had problems with Super and how their power scaling works. Mm. But Kid Buu is not stronger than Super Buu. The Fused Super Buu.
Buhan.
Yeah. He's not stronger than that.
Man.
And that they have training so often in Dragon Ball is to justify moving up the next fight to a higher level. Because...
Okay, do you want them to just show up and be stronger? What's wrong with training? Now, it's something like One Piece. You don't have a lot of training. You don't have a lot of people going... You have Zoro doing push-ups and lifting weights and stuff, but you don't have Luffy just stretching out to see what his limits are. He's just thinking of dub techniques, and then he sees somebody else do something and goes, hey, I could probably do that too with what I got. Sanji did the same thing. He saw the friction and he was like, okay, I can do that to create fire. So, you know, you don't necessarily need training, but for something like Dragon Ball, I would hate not seeing Goku do all those push-ups and 100 times gravity and stuff and just show up and beat the Ginyu Force.
And that's a problem all the way back in Dragon Ball because he climbed Korin's tower and he drank the water. It's like, the water made you stronger. No. It was actually the climbing that made you stronger. You got up here. And then all of a sudden later it was just like, oh, but there is water that just gets you stronger.
You want to just see these characters grow and grow and grow exponentially. Literally, all that matters for training is that you know the character is stronger than they were the last time they showed up. When the cast goes to deal with Nappa and Vegeta,
but I hate it.
Nappa remarks about how each Cyberman is basically equal in power to Raditz.
Kids anime.
The point here is to instill the fear of just how strong Raditz was. Given he was
Raditz was, what was he, like 1,000?
He was, I think it was like 1,300, 1,400, somewhere around there.
And Vegeta was in the 27s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to take out several of them when he was a child, easily. So let's say he was 2,000 when he was a child. He said to be stronger than his dad and blah, 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 blah.
And one of the elites.
He only got 10 times stronger over 20 years? That doesn't... And he's been fighting and killing and sleeping and eating and...
Regenerating.
How does this make sense? If Krillin can triple his power level in a year? He always knew that one day I'm gonna have to overthrow Frieza. So you would think that he would be training
it up,
or doing something to grow his power, but apparently not. He would just be like, well, "I'm gonna get Frieza one day somehow, whatever." But Krillin can get 3 times stronger in a year. Are we not supposed to? What?
Last major fight in the story, and see that these supposedly lowly, pissant creatures are just as strong and terrifying as a villain who managed to force out the death of the main character. After everybody is defeated before Nappa, you really understand just how far above and beyond the Saiyans are compared to the characters.
Why would you show Tien when he was not defeated before Nappa? Only Yamcha got defeated before Nappa. And then Krillin took out all the Cybermen.
By himself with a blast.
Did you not watch the series? Or what
I think he's just
there?
not very good with editing.
But even so, he just said everybody gets defeated before Nappa. And it was only one person.
We've known to be so strong before, Piccolo, Tien, not Yamcha. Enter Goku in the nick of time with the ever-famous...
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
Demonstrating that he's returned far stronger than he was before, decimating Nappa swiftly. Seeing Goku demonstrate his power without so much as breaking a sweat against somebody who defeated all of the Z-Fighters by himself, who also beat the Cybermen that were as strong as Raditz, really shows you how strong the guy's gotten after such a lengthy time of being dead. So, enter Vegeta. Goku gets some time to slap Vegeta around to show he's still pretty strong. But Vegeta comes back swinging, and it ends up being a pretty desperate fight until it comes down to that really famous Gallic Gun Kamehameha beam struggle.
Vegeta was always stronger than Goku outside of the Kaioken.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not an argument. It wasn't like a hard flaw. He used the technique to get himself stronger that he learned,
That was destroying his body.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. And at this point, technique still mattered a lot in Dragon Ball. Strategy still mattered a lot in Dragon Ball. It's just like grab his tail. They were still using a lot of strategy. It didn't really end until Goku turned Super Saiyan. Then it's just like, oh no, it's just power now.
Skipping some other details, since you all know it, we see the crew with their powers combined. They barely edge out a win against Vegeta, against all the odds. And you really come to see how strong Vegeta was after all that, because it took everybody's strength to take him down. Like, he was super powerful. So why am I describing this? You already know this fight, obviously, if you're watching this video.
I was just about to ask.
Well, you understand the narrative flow here now, right? Most of the cast have gotten stronger than Raditz, but Nappa is stronger than the cast, and Goku is stronger than Nappa, and Vegeta is stronger than Goku, and Goku with Krillin, Gohan, and Yajirobe is stronger than Vegeta.
Pause. Nope, wasn't stronger.
Nope, absolutely not.
They beat him.
Yeah.
There's a difference between beating somebody and being stronger than them.
Yep, they just defeated him.
Luffy was not stronger than Bullet. Point blank. Period. That first off, who wouldn't understand that whole they're stronger than there and blah 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 sort of thing. Second off, no, just not stronger.
Yeah, this is just incorrect.
Yeah,
they if he hadn't put up that moon, he probably would have won. Cause he just got so mad at Goku. It was just like, okay, enough of this bush. I'm gonna put up the moon. I'm gonna use the technique that Saiyans have used forever to conquer planets, and I'm gonna conquer this bush. And he starts doing that. He gets his tail cut off, and it's just like, well, I'm still strong. oh wait, no, the kid is transforming, and now he's gonna conquer me. And it took the pinnacle of Saiyans at that point to edge out a win against Vegeta. They got lucky. Spirit Bomb, Kaioken, Kamehamehas, cutting off his tail, and an Azoru beat him. But nobody was point blank period stronger. None of them combined was point blank period
If they
stronger.
were just punching and kicking him while he was not in Ozari, they would have lost.
How powerful each of the characters actually were in the story was entirely dependent on what was a satisfying way to write the story. And in a way...
Pause. It is not satisfying that they get stronger than Raditz in a year. Tien is constantly training. That's all he does. We've said this. Krillin was like, I've slacked off on my training. That's fine. Tien is always training. Why was he not stronger?
Yeah. Why wasn't he the strongest of the Z fighters at that point? Besides, you know, Goku, of course.
He's a martial arts master.
This is literally all he ever does.
Yamcha's a bum. Take him
Boom!
Krillin said he slacked off on his training. Why? It's not satisfying narratively that they can just get stronger.
They can get as strong as the narrative needs them
At
to be.
this point. Because if they got as strong as Dodoria at this point, it's like, well, wait a second. Well, why couldn't they get stronger than Vegeta at this point? Because the narrative needed them to be weaker than Vegeta. Why? Well, because their training wasn't that effective. Well, why not? Well, they didn't do enough training, or this is the pinnacle of their strength. But it's not, because we see Krillin get way, way, way stronger, and we see Tien get way, way, way stronger. So why couldn't they get way, way, way stronger here? Narrative. That's not satisfying. So it's broken down.
that everybody got a chance to fight. Everybody's purpose was predetermined regardless of how long they trained and how strong people thought they were. Okay? That's my point. Power levels and power debates are completely trivial. No matter what number you slap on a Tien's power level in the Sand Saga, it is a completely meaningless number.
No, it is a meaningful number if it's X amount.
Yes.
If his power level was 70,000, the narrative could go, yeah, but, and you would go, that makes no sense, and that's not satisfying. But his number would make sense if, you know, whatever. It wouldn't be meaningless. If he was 70,000 and beat all the Saiyans, that's not satisfying narratively, but it makes sense that he would beat the Saiyans because his power level is 70,000. The problem with power scaling in Dragon Ball Z and Super is that they're only as strong and or weak as the narrative needs them to be.
At that exact moment.
Oh, you've only been about 1,200 all your life? Well, we need you to be 40,000 right now, so you trained for 6 months and now you're 40,000.
And that's all it is!
And that's what the problem is with Dragon Ball Z and Super. We need you to be this strong at this time, so we're going to train you for X amount of time, and you're going to be that strong. Well, what about all that training I did before? Oh, well, whatever. We didn't need you to be this strong at that point, so you weren't.
Is his power level 3,000, 4,000, 5,000? No. No, Tien's power level is strong enough to hurt Nappa slightly, but not beat him and buy more time for Goku.
Pause. Why?
Oh, it's probably because his power level is about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000.
Yes, if it was 20,000 or above Nappa, and he's not hitting Nappa and not hurting Nappa, you'd be like, wait, why isn't he the scouter say at 20,000? Power scaling will always take a backseat to storytelling. Yeah. Who doesn't understand that? Why obsess and miss the point? What's the point? That they're weaker than the main villain. Why are they weaker than the main villain at that point? Because they just need to be. All you need to know is that he's weaker than Nappa. That's all you need to know. How much weaker?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He can hurt him slightly, but let's say Yajirobe comes up and tries it. Nappa doesn't move. You can go, okay, he doesn't move, so Yajirobe is way, way weaker. He moves slightly when Tien hits him, so maybe a blast will take him out. Maybe a blast to the heart, maybe something. You can think about as opposed to Yajirobe, who's in the tens, and just not even affecting him.
And let's not forget that Krillin has a technique that could have shredded a dude in the millions, while his power level was probably like 80,000. Krillin has a technique to shred people. Where Vegeta goes, Nappa, do not get hit by that. Why? Because regardless of what his power level was, that technique would have allowed him to win that fight. Again, what's the point?
I don't understand what his point is.
And power scaling is going to take a backseat to storytelling, but you have to. It could still be good or bad power scaling in One Piece. And dude, we bring up One Piece so much.
It's the pinnacle.
In One Piece, they go, these are the Shichibukai, which are pirates governed by the government, and they are really strong. So you go, if they fight a Shichibukai, they're really strong. But they also bring it back even more. Okay, but you also have the Yonko, which are the 4 strongest pirates in the sea. Okay, the East Blue is the weakest sea of the 4 blues. The Grand Line is a very strong sea. So before we even get to anything, we already know we have 4 pirates that are of the strongest variety. Under them are 7 pirates that are also super strong. And in the interim between that, we have strong pirates that have no title.
Yeah, they're just dudes.
Like Arlong, they're just strong pirates with no title. So before we even touch anybody, we go, hey, there's 7 pirates we need to take care of at some point, and they're really, really strong. So at some point, the Straw Hats are going to have to get up to that level, and they slowly get up to that level. Kuro is at the level of Luffy, roughly. And then the next time, no, before, I would say, not even Arlong. Probably before Croc. Luffy was stronger than everybody before Croc. Arlong threw him into the sea, and then once Luffy got out, it was a pretty easy fight for Luffy. He got bit, and then he got smashed into the building, and it's just like, no, I'm just gonna kick you, and it's done. So we see where their power needs to be at some point. Dragon Ball's power scaling is, we need you to be at this power level at this point. And that's the problem. In the future, we know the Straw Hats need to be here. For this moment, we need you to be right here. So, we're gonna say you're off 2 months training to get right here.
That's all that matters. In the end, it seems super trivial to me to try and determine the strength of his character at this moment. At this moment. Because,
but
why would they even introduce the character? Why even have the character if it's just like, well, why not just have just anybody in that role if it just doesn't matter how strong or weak he is? We know Tien. We know that he's been trained. We know that all of his strengths and weaknesses. He's going into the fight. He has his own like narrative. I want to protect everybody, and you're just going, it doesn't matter. He's weak.
He's as weak as the story needs him to be, so whatever.
So whatever. What?
Why are we talking about it?
Why are we degrading these characters like this? Why are we just... You're basically going, they are numbers fighting.
Here's the reason why power levels matter. Because I don't want to see Krillin beat Beerus. Because that would make no sense based on their levels. So, hey, where is Krillin at this moment? When they go into the Tournament of Power, we have to go, where are these people's levels at this moment? Because we're facing the strongest people from each universe of these, whatever, 8 universes or whatever. And we need to know where you are right now. So we have these bush training and recruitment arcs where it's just like, oh, you're around this level when you're really not. Because I need to know how strong you are in comparison to the person you're fighting. Otherwise, I can't get a logical fight out of it, because why would such and such be able to beat such and such if they're simply not stronger? And before, it didn't really matter in Dragon Ball because you had techniques, but now I need that power level. Tien just simply is not strong enough. So, it's fine if you don't need to know his power level. Who cares if he's 2,000 or 3,000? It's not strong enough to beat Nappa. But when you go into a fight of Ginyu Force versus Vegeta, Krillin, and Gohan, you have to go, what is everybody's level here? Otherwise, why can't Krillin and Gohan beat Raccoon?
And you see what he's doing here? He's doing something very disingenuous. Who's arguing about Tien's power level versus Nappa? We saw this. You're going, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter because we saw this. Go to something that you have to argue as opposed to just this.
Because you have a very broad idea from the way the story is told, and you know from the get-go anyways, he's not going to be the one taking away the win. Power scale.
We don't know that because Goku and Piccolo were getting finessed by Raditz, but they still won. So there are ways that weaker people can beat stronger people. But I guess it just doesn't matter because he's not strong enough, quote unquote. But they weren't strong enough for Raditz, but they still won. So what are we doing here?
Go anyways, he's not going to be the one taking away the win. Power scaling is not some separate entity from the writing. The reason Dragon Ball's fights in sequential order end up being satisfying is because it uses power scaling massively to its advantage.
It does not.
Dragon Ball is one of the worst instances of power scaling.
You just have to look at, he needs to be stronger than Frieza, so he just goes in the tank, and now he is. Gohan just has this mystical power within him. Just stand in front of this old dude, and now you're just stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Okay.
Why weren't Namekians lined up around the block once the Frieza soldiers came there to go unlock the potential, unlock the potential, unlock the
potential, and then absorb me? Why wasn't Nail just wholesale absorbing people?
Whether people want to admit it or not, the power scale is...
I wish he would have shown some comments or something, because he's just arguing with nothing. He's just going, people are saying this and people don't understand this. He's not showing how exactly they're getting things wrong.
Now, I don't doubt that there are people out there.
Absolutely.
Like that. There's a person out there for every argument in the world.
Absolutely. But he's just going, people are saying that narrative doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't think it's as big a problem as he wants us to perceive it to be.
Advantage. Whether people want to admit it or not, the power scale is always going to be wonky.
No, it doesn't need
to be.
Have to be. That's the problem.
That's that Toriyama yada yada thing.
Yeah. The power levels are always going to be wonky.
They don't have to be.
It really does not have to be a problem if he did it in a good way.
Absolutely.
Hey, Vegeta is power level such and such. I'm only such and such, but I have Kaioken that can double, triple, and quadruple my power. So I can get roughly up to where he is. Makes a lot of sense.
I'm the strongest in the universe, but on Earth, underground, there's not only a bunch of 3 androids, 5 androids who are all stronger than Frieza. Point blank Frieza.
Cell.
There are 6 androids. Not only that, but there's also a demon king and an ancient evil, all on Earth that are stronger than Frieza. Why? In One Piece, they said boom, boom, boom. Yonko, Shichibukai, bunch of strong people.
And hey, to this day, they have not beaten a single Yonko.
But it doesn't have to be wonky. You don't have to just yada yada whatever you can. That's the worst way to think about things.
And that's the problem with Dragon Ball Z and the way it does its power scaling. It's wonky in a way that is so dumb. Like, it doesn't need to be wonky if you would have just thought about things. But he didn't. Toriyama is a very in-the-moment writer. He has said himself that he just creates things as he goes along. So he's not thinking about, hey, Vegeta was around 40,000 by the end of that. Let's make the next guy 1 million. That sounds cool. Okay, but what about the future? Okay, we probably need to get rid of power scales.
Yeah.
Power levels.
Just go... What? Because at that point you just go 2 billion, and then you look at Krillin, who's maybe 1 million. You go, well, he's not even any kind of a factor. So just get him out of here. Once you start comparing people like that, you go they're. But as long as you just go, they're stronger. You can go, okay, they're stronger, as opposed to just giving a number to somebody and making people so irrelevant that it doesn't matter. Because if we did have that comparison of Goku Super Saiyan 3 being 1 billion and then Krillin being 1 million, he walks into the Tournament of Power, you're like, well, he's just getting disintegrated out the gate.
So they had to take all that back because people would look at those hard numbers and go, what's the point of those people even being there?
You can point to any number of moments in Dragon Ball and say, well, look, why didn't this character
course.
just do this?
A character landing a hit on somebody stronger than themselves does not mean his power scaling is bad. Who said that? Nobody's saying this unless you can provide somebody saying this. It means that the character is being given useful screen time and development without defeating said character. What?
What?
What useful screen time did Piccolo get by skirmishing with Dr. Gero? What development was given there? I don't know. What does this point mean? See, this is the problem with just putting it on screen. This is a very scattershot video. It sounds like he's just going off the cuff with his thoughts.
I feel like he's somewhat going off the cuff with his. It feels
He
like
might have bullet points.
Yeah, 90s wrestling promos where it's just like, I need to say this, and this. I know the points I want to get to, and I'm just gonna shoot from the hip while I give these points.
But something like this is given no elaboration, even though he's putting in afterwards. He's saying things going, okay, I need to clarify this, and then he just drops this down, and it'd be better if he went, like when Krillin did this to Cell. Like when Krillin saved that lady and her daughter from Cell. I'm like, okay, that's development. But maybe not useful screen time, but I don't understand what this point is.
And power scaling inherently is not bad. It's just a narrative device. Dragon Ball's power scaling is bad. I don't think you know what power scaling is. Because you're giving
he made his own definition, and he's mushing it into that.
And freaking Tien getting a hit on Nappa does not mean he got useful screen time and or development as a character. It just means he got a shot in on Nappa. Freaking Krillin did Destructo Disc to Perfect Cell, and Cell didn't flinch. Was that useful screen time and development? Just he wasn't beaten, but he got a hit. But that doesn't mean power scaling is bad. No, that's not the definition. What are you talking about?
Talking about?